Have the 30-minute nonstop news blitz for you in just a moment. Before we get to it, though, 790 KBC has your chance to win $1,000 right now. Text the national keyword CATCH. That is CATCH. CATCH, the number 95819. That is CATCH 95819 for your chance. We will text you back to confirm your entry. Data messaging rates may apply. It is 4K a day at 6, 9, noon, and 3 on 790 KBC. And it is Midday Live. Lauren Sivan, Dr. Drew, broadcasting from the beautiful Subaru Live Stage, brought to you by the 2018 Subaru Forester. And I'm a little disoriented. It's a little weird doing it from here, isn't it?
Right?
But it's fun. It's great. And we have a really cool audience. They've been very
We've
kind.
never had a live audience for the news blitz.
And I would argue that this is the one to have because they're very, very kind, very appreciative, and we're lucky to have them.
Absolutely. And we have so many people in the audience that have, come from different walks of life, so we can get their feedback on this news blitz.
All right, here comes.
All right, we start with Rudy Giuliani.
Mm-hmm.
Rudy Giuliani promised he was going to wrap up this Mueller investigation, remember? Couple
Yeah.
weeks, it'll be all wrapped up. Well, now he's created a bigger headache for the president.
He mentioned the payoff.
He went on Sean Hannity's show, and he says, oh, yeah, Trump reimbursed Michael Cohen for that Stormy Daniels hush money, the $130,000. And even Sean Hannity was like, wait, what?
That he didn't know anything about.
That. I don't think the president knew that. And Giuliani replied, oh, yeah. Hannity asked if Giuliani was aware that Trump did not know about the payment to Stormy Daniels, given that Trump himself claimed that he did not. Something Daniels' lawyer disputes. And Giuliani
Your boyfriend,
said,
Affinati. Daniels' lawyer.
That's right.
Yeah.
I think he's kind of cute.
Giuliani
said he didn't know about the specifics of it, as far as I know, but he did know about the general arrangement that Michael would take care of things like this.
There's already damage control underway, right? The White House is saying that it was a retainer for magically the exact sum that they paid Stormy Daniels, right? Yeah.
It doesn't matter, though. If you're paying to keep a porn star quiet,
as is the custom,
and you're using someone who works for the campaign, as is the custom.
Right.
Yeah. That was the other excuse. He's like, Trump started tweeting about this particular payment.
This morning?
And I should say it's not Trump. It's definitely not Trump tweeting this. There was no exclamation marks, no sad, no collusion. It was definitely his lawyer.
It just occurred to me. Do you wish that Ms. Trump would use emojis?
Oh, yes.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Don't you think his tweets would seem less angry if he had some emojis?
Like at the end of his rants about CNN, the vomiting emoji at the end.
That's right. Or the head explosion one. Or the turd. I'm sure he would use that quite frequently.
A lot. Oh, my goodness. Yes, you're in the middle of the 30-minute nonstop news blitz. We're here in the live Subaru stage with our live audience, if you're just tuning in. And, Lauren, what else you got?
Oh, well, before we get to traffic, one more fun story. Guess what? 2018's most fun states in America. The list is in, and we rank number 1.
Really?
California is the number 1 most fun state in America. Now, you're probably asking yourself, what are they define as fun?
Yeah.
Traffic?
But there's got to be something that's keeping us all here.
Taxes and traffic. No.
Yeah.
Oh my. We stay here because Wallet Hub compared the 50 states across 26 key indicators of a jolly good time, ranging from movie cost to accessibility of national parks to casinos. So we have all of those.
So if you can
survive the traffic to get to our casinos.
So what makes us a fun state
parks.
is fees to the movie theater. Now, mind you, they didn't take into account that the food once you get in there is just get ready. And then access to Las Vegas, and then we're all good.
We have like Six Flags and all the other fun.
Oh, the amusement parks?
Disney, amusement parks, Disney, right.
All right, time. And we are live from the Subaru Live Stage here at 790 KABC. It is our first live event. We have a live audience here. And I'm wondering if they have any opinion about California being such a fun state, and who do they think ranked last? What would be the least fun state? Anybody have an opinion about that? Or what keeps us here is the other thing. The fun must keep us here, but I'm not sure the way they rank the fun is exactly why.
Texas would be ranked last.
Texas would be ranked last.
No, Texas.
No, Texas is kind of fun if you're in the urban centers, right?
Texas can be fun.
Texas can be fun according to these criteria. I'm going to guess. I'm going to go somewhere between.
Michigan?
Michigan, I would say no. Well, Michigan could be. Okay, I'm thinking.
No.
Wyoming.
Maine.
Okay, I'll give you a hint. Think opioid crisis.
I was Vermont, New Hampshire.
Someone said it, I heard.
North Dakota.
No.
Oklahoma. Ohio.
West Virginia.
We've actually named West Virginia.
There it is,
course.
West Virginia.
There it is.
I don't know if that's why it's the least fun, but
the rest of us named 45 states before we got to West Virginia. But to be fair, you ever been to West Virginia?
Driven through.
Yeah, it's not a lot going on.
No.
I would say that's probably
I would agree.
summarizes it.
Yeah.
Unless you're into.
Is it for lovers? Oh, that's Virginia.
No, you're into OxyContin.
Virginia's for lovers.
OxyContin.
Oh, West Virginia's for OxyContin. They didn't put that on the plates yet, though.
No, not yet.
Yeah.
It's coming.
Speaking of fun, the norovirus.
Oh, yeah.
100 Californians have contracted this illness
I
from
think my son has it. From
oysters.
Oh, yeah.
British Columbian oysters. I eat oysters pretty
you know
steady.
What? I like oysters, and they scare me. You can get like Vibrio vulnificans, and there's some horrible stuff because they concentrate things. They're siphoners.
Well, they look
And
like snot.
You can get hepatitis C from it. You can get crazy stuff.
Really?
I love
Is it not?
I'm
good to
scared
have
to eat
them?
them.
Really?
You can occasionally get these terrible diarrheal illnesses, these food poisoning type things. I know. Everybody.
Listen.
Enjoy the barbecues right after this. By the way, it's coming up.
Bright side, you're ready for bikini season. if you survive the norovirus.
I'll give you a
Is
taste
it
of
deadly?
It can be. It usually isn't. It's self-limited. But as we all know, there's going to be more norovirus coming our way through the volatilized feces on the homeless encampments. That's coming. That is coming our way both in northern
Just in
and
case
southern
you still
California.
had your appetite.
Barbecue is right after this. Anyway, so you're in the middle of the 30-minute nonstop news blitz. We are live at the Subaru Stage here at 790 KABC. Oh, wait, another piece of news. Let me just bring this up.
Go for it.
As scheduled, Dennis Rodman will be joining us at a quarter past the next hour.
That's going to be exciting.
Dennis Rodman has refused every media outlet in the world except for our show, and he's going to give us. I said I know Dennis. I know his management. I said I want him to take a bow for North Korea, and I'll give him a chance.
Absolutely.
Give him a chance. So he's going to here on the show.
Everybody doubted him.
I don't know. I'm not ready to connect all the dots, but I just think he deserves a chance to speak.
Well, he says I introduced North Korea to President Trump. Okay. This is Dr. Drew's favorite story in the nonstop 30-minute news blitz.
Hang on. So set it up.
I
mentioned this to Lauren. I didn't say it was my favorite story.
Loves
and
it.
she goes, that's in the news blitz for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
A 19-year-old mother in the UK stabbed her boyfriend during sex after telling him men should only be used for human sacrifice.
And if you really read on, it says she dressed like a clown.
She often dressed like a clown. Also, this is my favorite. The screensaver on her cell phone showed a photo of a blood-soaked woman with the caption, "Murder is like a bag of chips. You can't stop after just one."
Oh, we want her amongst us. We want her amongst us. I'm so turned on by this girl. This is too much. Now,
she's in jail now, so everybody can calm down. But
I'm mixed between comedic sort of delight and absolute disgust. It's like a weird mix of feelings. But here's the thing. Lauren Sivan contends that humans are evil and bad. And that's why I like this story, because it made me think of my friend Lauren Sivan. It proves her point.
That's so sweet.
But by applause, how many people think humans are... I mean, we do bad things, but generally we're positive and good and feel good about humanity. It's about half the room. It's about half the room, Lauren. So we split them right down the middle.
Right down the middle. By the way, she couldn't remember the incident.
Oh, that's interesting.
But she said it sounded like her.
Okay, so either... So listen, so that's three possibilities. So drugs, number one. Or number two, trauma, blackout, red out, which I was kind of thinking it was one of those trauma things that people
really?
do. They'll do weird stuff in trauma. And or manic psychosis, that kind of
Well,
thing.
she planned the attack because she took the knife and duct tape to the bedroom with her. So
Well, that's a tell. Next time somebody shows up with duct tape and a knife.
Never a good sign.
Yeah, and with a clown outfit in tow. Just
That's
kind of
right.
Maybe play
Never
off.
a good sign.
No. You're in the middle of nonstop 30-minute news blitz here on Talk Radio 790 KABC. We are again at the live stage here, the Subaru Live Stage, and it's our first event of the kind. And we're very blessed with a good audience here, lively and live audience.
That's right. They're alive.
Thank you.
The bromance between President Trump and Kanye continues this week. The White House is now exploring plans to host a summit, including Kanye West, where they would discuss
African American
yes.
issues. So
they want to bring Kanye in, some black allies as well as artists and athletes.
So I saw they're calling it the Kanye Summit was in the paper this morning.
Yes, correct.
Ben Shapiro will be here in just a couple of minutes, and Ben ain't feeling good about Kanye, right?
No, he's not. Many conservatives are saying, let's not all put all of our eggs in Kanye's basket.
Well, Scott Adams says, I'll leave it. I'll leave that be.
Here we go.
But he has strong opinion.
Only 11 minutes in.
I know, right? Well, the hypnosis works.
That's
all day.
right.
So the Kanye thing, I've still got a lot of feelings about. I am dismayed by all the disparaging remarks about his mental illness, and that people are sort of equating his political views with his mental illness, which of course are disconnected. Those are not things that are related. And I was saying to some of our listeners before the show, we were just hanging out with them, that it's not like people when they get mental illness, particularly bipolar manias or hypomanias, they don't switch their political agendas. They just become sort of more of whatever they are.
Right.
And so I think, and to say to Kanye, hey, dude, it's coming across wrong. You're being impulsive. You're saying things you don't really mean. Take your meds. That's different than he's he's crazy. That Kanye is nuts. That is disparaging and stigmatizing. So I have an issue with it.
Well, my problem is Kanye has always been nuts, and just because he's now a fan of Donald Trump, all of his allies are coming out and saying he's crazy. Like Jamie Foxx has criticized TMZ for airing that interview where
But that's a legitimate complaint. They're saying, hey, he's not well right now, and you're giving him a place to act out.
Right, he's never been well. The difference is he's supporting Donald Trump now.
What do you mean by not well? What do you mean?
He's always acted like this.
I was at the MTV Video Music Awards where he got up and said he was running for president.
Yeah.
And it went on and on and on. And believe me, there were
Thank
people.
you. He was always like that.
Hang on. My wife, we were like, about as far away as we are from the sound booth here. And my wife's like, you got to go get him. He's not well. You got to go up there and get him. And I'm like, look, I will if I have to. But I know when that moment arrives, but we'll just sit here quietly in the meantime. But that's how kind of uncomfortable it was when he was up there.
Okay, but that was before he pled his loyalty to Donald Trump.
It was when he was off his meds. When his mom was alive, I've heard that she made sure he followed up his medical management carefully. On his own, he's goofing around.
He's a wife. Why doesn't Kim do something?
Good question. Is it the wife's responsibility?
It's someone's. If you're living with him and he's off the rails,
I
right?
had heard a story came out quickly yesterday that Kim was very unhappy about the lack of medication compliance with his medical management. And then that story.
Were those her words?
No, it's not her words. But the story went away instantly. It was weird. To me, that ring of truth was there with it. So anyway, it disappeared.
LeVar Burton also says problems with Kanye's brain chemistry. Okay.
Which we know he has. That's in fact what he has. What do you guys think about Kanye? Do you think get opinions about Kanye? We'd love to hear your kind of take on this. We've got our live audience here at the Subaru Live Stage. But see, Lewis, I can't see anything out there.
Yeah,
so you're going to have to tell them to speak, and we'll listen. Has anybody got a Kanye opinion in our live audience out there? There are lots of mics in the back, Lewis. Come on now. Again, it's the Subaru Live Stage. We are at Talk Radio 790 KBC. Let me do this for you. Ask your question or make your comment. 790 KBC has your chance to win $1,000 now. Text the national keyword CATCH, C-A-T-C-H, to 95819. That is CATCH to 95819 for your shot. We will text you back, confirm your entry. Data and messaging rates may apply. It is 4K a day at 6, 9, noon, and 3 on 790 KBC. Kanye.
Well, they're all texting now.
Oh. It's true.
Is it safe to judge him because of his psychological issues?
Is
Good
it
question.
safe for him, you mean?
Or for us?
Or we'll come out. That's a really interesting. Tell me more what you mean by that question. I'm fascinated.
Well, since he's always had psychological issues, don't you think it can interfere with his judgment on politics? And I don't think I feel like all of the hate that he's getting is just increasing it more. It's saying, hey, well, if you guys...
Okay, so you're right that psychology figures into political points of view, but I don't think his psychology has ever really changed. It's more about his personality structure and that sort of thing. And has he always been sort of a Trump supporter? Lately he's been, right? So at one point,
I don't know if he's been as vocal.
At one point he changed his ideas. But his real problem is not psychological, though people are sort of trying to make it such. It really isn't. His problem is his medical psychiatric problem, which is the bipolar disorder, and that's what's making him so impulsive and say things that don't quite connect and make sense. That's all the bipolar. So, and he had an opiate addiction too, which I find fascinating. I would also argue that his opiate addiction was sort of more dependency than addiction.
And he had liposuction. I'm just throwing that out there.
And that's what killed something like that killed his mom, which is
That's
very weird.
right.
So, You're in the middle of nonstop 30-minute news blitz. Yes, ma'am.
Some doom and gloom for you. We don't want to
good.
give you only good news on this news blitz. California is due for a mega flood that could force 1.5 million people to evacuate and cause $725 billion in damages. Also, it would hit Silicon Valley the hardest. In addition,
That's weird.
yeah, the flooding.
You don't think of that as a
Floods
flood
are
area.
coming.
You think about down here in Southern California where we have these floodplains that have flash
That's
floods,
right.
and we try to manage that. And everyone that hates the cement river bread suddenly loves it
Well,
when the
guess
floods come.
who predicted this?
Scott Adams.
No, our other
Nostradamus. Lucy Jones.
Lucy Jones,
Oh,
that's
really?
right, in her book, yeah. But in addition to the floods, get out your Noah's Ark, more than 800 West Hollywood buildings could collapse in a big quake. For any of you that live in West Hollywood.
How many?
More than 800. Like 821 buildings are thought to be wood frame structures like apartments with carports on the ground.
The carport is what I was thinking.
Yeah,
yes,
they're
it's got to be the
done for.
carport. If you live in a structure that's got the posts with you drive your car underneath, those are the ones that pancake. That's what happened in Northridge anyway.
Yeah, so lots to look forward to
Happy
as
news.
far as natural disasters
Lauren always bringing
here in
the happiness.
California.
Well done.
That's what I'm here for. The bloom is off the Charlie Rose.
Oh,
Did you read the updates on this?
That was very
today?
clever, by the way. Say it again.
The bloom is off the Charlie Rose.
Yes.
Yeah. Charlie Rose's misconduct was apparently widespread at CBS, and 3 managers were warned about it and did nothing.
Does that the description of what happened there? 3 managers warned. What does that mean?
It means that these women went to their managers and complained about it.
But you don't. With 3 producers, 3. I mean,
one was an executive producer of
Okay.
CBS This Morning.
All right, so the EP was
One
warned.
was-
That's bad if she didn't do it. Or he
One
didn't do
was an
anything.
EP of The Charlie Rose Show, and one, I think, worked at 60 Minutes too, or 60 Minutes. One was
I'm telling you, there is
2 are
more,
women.
There are, and there is more old school misbehavior in the news business than has yet fully been revealed.
Sure.
Because
sure.
I've had friends that have been affected by some grooming and stuff that went on, particularly guys around Charlie Rose's age. And at the time, I was like, red alert! This is bad. Oh no, they're so smart, they're so capable. They're my heroes. You know, it's like no, you are being groomed by a schmuck.
It's hard though. You do respect them and you look up to them, and you're so grateful for any advice they're giving you and mentoring you. That's how they do it. I know.
Think about what they're abusing when they do that. It's worse than
that's-
Weinstein in weird ways.
That's why we need more women in those positions.
How about
so that they can
healthy?
be the mentors?
And then they exploit the men?
No.
No. Oh no, I'm sorry. You're imagining women mentoring women. And one of the
Yes.
complaints is that women don't do enough of that for their
That is a
underlings.
complaint.
Yeah.
I am one of those saying that definitely is a complaint. 27 women, 14 CBS News employees, and 13 who worked with him elsewhere said Rose sexually harassed them.
I am telling you that
He's another guy with the robe showing up naked. What is that?
The robes.
No one wants to see
Be away
that.
from stay clear of men that wearing robes a lot. That's
That's
good,
right.
It's a good.
That's a really good rule of thumb.
It's a general
When
sort of
applying for a
note.
job, if he shows up in a robe,
Stay away.
leave.
But I think there are 2 areas that I think there's a lot more to be revealed, and one is in the sort of the traditional journalist, late night news magazine sort of setting. A bunch of guys there that have been misbehaving for quite some time, and still Sacramento. These stories are not fully out yet. I'm telling you, they're not out yet.
No. for sure.
And you are in the middle of the 30-minute nonstop news blitz here. We are live at the Subaru Live Stage. And Rhonda Kramer, I want to give you a little nod. Those of you in this audience here that are from Los Angeles or hearken from Los Angeles, how many of you, by show of applause, know Rhonda Kramer from her many radio years and many different appearances on many different... Rhonda, you still there?
Yeah, I sure am. Wow.
So congratulations. There's some people here, early K-Rock fans from the 80s. They remember you from the morning show with...
82 to 89, I was on
Wow.
K-Rock. Yeah, it's a long time ago.
There you go.
Wow.
All right, Rhonda,
You're
thank you so
making
much.
me feel very old.
How dare you? I was there too. How dare you? But she was the first newscaster or traffic radio person that spoke back
That's right.
to the host, which
Yeah.
was
She's a-
mind-blowing
a
at the
pioneer.
time. Mind-blowing, I
Pioneer.
tell you.
Yeah.
Again, we have Ben Shapiro coming here in about 10 minutes. We have Dennis Rodman is scheduled to be here in about 55 minutes, and we're going to ask him to go ahead and take a bow for North Korea. You're in the middle of, again, the nonstop 3 minutes news blitz at the Subaru Live Stage here on Talk Radio 790 KBC. It's Midday Live. Lauren.
We always talk about how Orange County seems to have their blank together
Yeah.
much better than LA County, right?
Yes, I just know it by driving down the 5.
That's right.
You go on the 5, and all of a sudden, it's like, what happened here? We're in Nirvana.
The sun shines a bit brighter.
I
and-
know something's better going on. Something. I'm not sure.
Well, they're doing great in cracking down on gang violence. They made 85 arrests. This is Orange County Sheriff's Department in Operation Scarecrow, seizing 36 firearms, including assault weapons, 14 pounds of methamphetamine, and 3 pounds of heroin. Congratulations, Orange County Sheriff's Department.
It's also a reminder that, yes, congratulations.
Yeah.
It's also a reminder that meth is back, everybody. Meth is back big, and it's often being mixed with heroin, and that is a nearly untreatable combination. It's very difficult.
Aren't they opposing?
They are, but it's like speedballs, right? It's cocaine and heroin also opposing, but it lets you kind of it gets you the best of both in a way, right? And it's supposed to nodding off your.
I wouldn't know, but I take
Well,
your
let me
word
tell
for
you,
it.
when I shoot both, it's way better than one either individually. So I'm just saying.
Now, is
but-
heroin often mixed with meth? Is
Yeah.
that how you?
That's what's happening now, and what because meth makes you so crazy, and I will use that word crazy specifically for meth because it really does, makes you lose all your insight, makes you really not see what's happening. It's why people can lose their teeth and things doing meth, and people are like, "Well, what's the big deal?" They lose their ability to see what's happening. to them.
Right.
And part of that is in their distorted thinking and their paranoias and their agitation and their poor choices. And then you sort of layer in a little heroin on top of that, and it's very, very, very challenging.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
Stay
good
away,
times.
folks.
Good times, everybody.
In other news, I love this story because we're going to be done for the human race pretty soon.
Just because you hate the human race, you think we're all bad.
Yeah.
And when Ben Shapiro gets here, I
can't
want
wait for the robots
I want
to take
Ben
over.
to tell me whether humans are good or bad. It was fundamentally.
Human clone fears arise as scientists have managed to create life from, quote, nothing.
Okay.
Here's how they did it. They combined 2 types of stem cells, creating a viable
Hold on.
embryo.
Hold on.
What?
With 2 stem cells is already life. They didn't take it from nothing. They took it from 2 stem cells.
But they
Okay.
created an embryo from 2 stem
Two
cells.
stem cells
Is it
embryo.
warm in here? It's warm in here for Dr. Joe.
Yeah. It's
Are
maybe
you on
in front of
meth?
the lights. I told
I'm
you
worried
I was.
about you.
I told you I was. I'm just dead. But
Too
okay,
much
so
coffee.
so 2 stem cells and
All right,
you
2
get an
stem
embryo.
cells created an
Right.
embryo. They say this would provide an unlimited stock for medical research. Also, obviously, is a solution for some fertility problems
Oh boy.
that they haven't managed to solve. And
So let's break it down a bit. So,
it's one
so-
step toward human cloning.
Okay, so you take 2 stem cells, which are pluripotent. They can turn into anything, right? Then you have
Oh,
to
pluripotent. I like that
pluripotent stem
word.
cell. Yeah. Then you have to separate the 2 strands of the DNA, right? To
Okay.
create it's called meiosis to create sperm to create germ cells.
Okay.
Right, and 2 germ cells can come together to form a complete embryo, right?
Okay.
But I'm guessing that they're not trying to create.
But they're
entities.
taking 2 types of stem cells. So these are not coming from the same person.
Then they're not. Yeah, 2 different people, right? So,
Right.
so that's how you create a new, novel embryo.
So it wouldn't be a clone necessarily.
No, not unless they're not unless it's like no. I'm just trying to think of what it would be. I can't think of what it would be. But be that as it may, my hope is they're not. They're discussing it being a fertility treatment, so they're talking about creating humans that way, which is a little bit dicey. I hope they also then said it'll be a source for research. You can't really create a human and then do research on it, but you can create an organ and then do research on it. So I'm hoping these will be ways of sort of maybe stem cells for particular organs. If they can
Awesome.
get, so
New
something like that.
liver, everyone.
Something like that. Yeah. That would be good. That would be good.
Yay.
Yeah.
I don't see the downside.
Well, it'll let you. You saw the wine and beer was being served over here. You can give away
I
more
should have had
so
a
than you did.
double.
That's right.
Should have had a double. This is my favorite story of the day. Speaking of livers, Diet Vodka is now coming from Kettle One.
Do you like Kettle One?
Yes, I'm a huge Kettle One fan. If I can save 23 calories every time I drink vodka, why wouldn't I?
Did everybody catch that? Yes.
I would lose-
Hell yes.
I would lose 109 pounds in the course of a year.
You'd vaporize. Yeah, I know. But listen, Laura and I went drinking once, and barely survived. But I do remember vodka was part of the play, part of the game.
Yeah, I'm a vodka or tequila kind of gal. You are a whiskey fellow. Or bourbon. You went with bourbon,
I'm a
I
super
think.
lightweight, but I was on my stupid diet that allowed me
Oh,
to have
that's
bourbon. So
right,
that's
yeah.
all there is to it. So, again, you're in the middle of the nonstop 30-minute news blitz. This is, of course, Midday Live with Lauren Sivan and Dr. Drew. We're broadcasting from the beautiful Subaru Live Stage, brought to you by the 2018 Subaru Forester. Versatility that inspires on
Oh,
790 KBC.
sorry. Major drawback on this diet vodka.
Not as much alcohol.
Not as much alcohol. It's only 60 proof compared to 80 proof.
60.
You'd have to drink twice as much.
Oh, my God. Well, all right.
We're almost there.
What else you got?
Authorities say they foiled an alleged ISIS-inspired attack on a Texas mall. If we're going to
heard about
report
this.
on all of the attacks, we definitely should report on the ones that they've managed to prevent.
Was it going to be like a shootout kind of thing or a bomb? What were they planning?
A teenager, authorities said, tried to recruit others to join his plans attacked. He was arrested Tuesday on charges he was plotting to shoot up the Stonebriar Center Mall in neighboring Frisco, Texas. Law enforcement officials say he had spent more than $1,400 for others to the purchase of weapons and body armor.
Oh my God!
And they plan to disseminate a, quote, message to America.
Uh-oh. And is it just a normal
I'm
kid?
sure it wasn't like, welcome to Texas.
And this is just
It's
some middle-class
definitely
kid from
dire.
Texas
Yes.
that was convertible.
Well,
Well, with-
Azizi Yarand is his name. But yeah, he's
Be interesting to see how he was radicalized, and again, why we don't sort of clamp down on some of those sites. Are kind of mysterious to me.
yeah. Well, he's in jail now, but the FBI was trailing him for a while and may have prevented a really horrific
is
attack.
cool.
So good on them.
In mere moments, we're going to have Ben Shapiro in the studio. Ben, of course, the host of the Ben Shapiro Show, heard nightly on 790 KABC at 9 p.m. He's the editor-in-chief of the Daily Wire, and he hosts the top conservative podcast in the nation. And he's got some thoughts on Kanye, amongst other things, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to get to him on that. We apparently have Dennis Rodman coming in about 45 minutes. He at least says he will. And I remind everybody that thousands of dollars have been won in the 4K a day on 790 KBC. Listen at 6 and 9, right after Randy Sports with Doug and Leanne. Noon here, of course, and 3 with Jillian and John. Hear the keyword, then text it to 95819. That is 95819. And you could instantly win $1,000. 4 chances to win every day. It's 4K a day on 790 KBC. Rules and info, go to kbc.com. Remember, you are not allowed to text that number while you are driving. If you'd like to use Siri, I'm semi-okay with that, but do not text and drive. Listen to win on 790 KBC.
Well, that's all I got for the News Blitz.
Well, anybody have any questions
Anyone
for
have
our
any
audience?
questions that I
Anybody
can help
got
you
any-
with about that?
About the news or anything else? Unfortunately, it's so weird when you can't see them. Our number is 800-222-5222. People want to call in. We will have Ben Shapiro in here. I believe Steve will be able to take calls in here as well as from our audience. Is that accurate? Steve, Engineer Steve? He doesn't know. We'll have to ask our engineers in here. Well, how's it seem to you, Steve? This Steve? No? Maybe? No? Not the right one. Oh, well, I'll ask somebody. Again, that number, if you want, it's certainly at 1 o'clock. The number is 800-222-5222. I don't know if Dennis will be taking calls so much. That'll
That would be great, though, if he was.
I just want to give Dennis would like to take a bow for North Korea, and I want to give him that chance. And
Absolutely.
we'll see what he has to say. And
He deserves it.
his management very kindly allowed us to do so. And
What does he do besides diplomacy for North Korea?
We'll ask him. That's
Is
a
he,
good,
what is he busy with otherwise?
He,
Oh, we do have a question.
well,
Actually, I have a comment, and
A
I wanted to
comment.
thank you, Lauren, as a woman, for telling your story about sexual harassment, because I really feel like
Thank
we're going to have to
you.
leave it. I'm sorry, I'm on the clock.
What?
I'm on the clock.
I'm
I know.
getting
I
a
know.
good
We will
thing.
get back to it, I promise. It's Talk Radio 790 KBC.
You always do this.
The next 30-minute countdown. You're up.
It's Bing Crosby's birthday, Lauren.
Ah,
You could
yes.
sing on you could swing on a star.
That's what this is.
That's what this is.
Bing Crosby's birthday, everyone.
I am very happy to welcome our guest, Ben Shapiro. He's in studio. He's the host of the Ben Shapiro Show. You can hear it nightly on 790 KBC at 9 p.m. Editor-in-chief of the Daily Wire. Ben hosts the top conservative podcast in the nation, and we really do appreciate you coming in.
Hey, thanks
Really
for
do.
having me. I appreciate it.
And you just said before the mics heated up that 790 KBC was something you listened to as a kid.
Yeah, it was the first station I ever appeared on, too.
Oh,
Way back
really?
when, when I was 17 years old.
Oh, how
Wow.
Come on for
crazy.
an interview, yeah.
Who
so-
interviewed you?
Is it like
Larry,
child
actually.
labor law?
Larry
Larry
Elder?
Elder, yeah.
Not Peter Tilden. He wasn't still here.
Yeah.
So okay, so Lauren we were talking before we had you come on in here about Kanye.
Oh, yeah.
And she said you had some strong opinions about
Yeah,
that.
no, we've been talking about Kanye and his newfound love for Donald Trump, but many conservatives are warning about supporting Kanye West. You were one of them. You tweeted, "Live by the Kanye, die by the Kanye."
Yeah, well, I mean, Kanye's not the most predictable cat. And the fact that there's so many conservatives who are immediately assuming that because Kanye says that he wears a MAGA hat, that suddenly he's been reading Frederick Hayek and he should be the new head of the Heritage Foundation. Like, I'm not quite
He's
there.
not a libertarian. He's,
Right.
He's going right. On
What,
that.
what I do
Or
like
maybe
that he's
he
doing,
is. Maybe he's going libertarian. He's talking about free thinking. That's his
that
idea.
he quoted Thomas Sowell the other
Yeah,
day, right?
yeah.
I mean, but here's the thing that I do like about what he's doing. He's saying that he is more than just what people would have him be as part of a group identity, whether that means Hollywood celebrity or black guy. He's somebody who has individualistic thought. Now, does that mean he's thought through every issue? I think pretty clearly not. But it does mean that he's trying to break a stranglehold that's existed, I think, in terms of identity politics, and that's a great thing. So I'm actually really happy at what he's doing. I'm just warning that, you know, a guy who tweets routinely about antique fish tanks and fur pillows might not be your best political guru.
And yet, though, for me, it's like as long as anyone's talking about free thought and free speech,
Oh, yeah.
I'm good.
I'm
don't
pumped
care-
about
I
it.
don't care which side they come down on, as long as they are willing to engage others and listen to free associates,
I think,
dialogue.
I think people are really, really sick of the identity politics that boxes folks in. And I think that you're actually seeing that. There's a poll out from Reuters a couple of days ago, and it showed a massive jump in black support for Trump, specifically in the last week. Like, since Kanye did this between April 22nd and April 29th.
That's what I was going to bring up. He has a huge following, and,
And
he does influence
signing
people.
off on his.
There's a doubling of black male support for Donald Trump from 11% to 22% in 1 week.
Now,
I don't know whether that's going to be statistically, coherent, whether that holds over time, or whether that's just sort of a weird boost in the algorithm. But it's something. I mean, it's something.
Is it possible that's just a reflection of jobs?
It's possible that too,
been improving?
but that hadn't actually changed for the year before, right? So it was
Right.
basically consistent from 8 to 11% for a year, and then in 1 week it doubled.
Right.
And so I think that's a lot of people who are probably saying, listen, I never really thought I had to think about these issues because I was assumed to have been a Democrat. I was assumed to have been anti-Trump. But now that Kanye is saying I can think for myself, well, I've been doing a little research, and maybe I'm a little more open-minded about these particular issues.
Candace Owens is particularly where he's sort of.
Yeah, he's a big
found
fan of
affection.
Candace's. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What's amazing to me is the backlash he got. I mean, it's exactly what you're talking to, Ben. Sorry, I have to look away from you when I'm talking to you
Because
the
there's an
microphone's
audience
a bit-
here.
Yeah.
We're turning back to Ben
My
towards
microphone's
our audience.
Yeah, this way. But the John Legends and the other people
Yep.
in the Hollywood community, in the rap community, are coming out so hard against him, saying, "Yo, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're not following."
But here's what Ben's zeroing in on something I want to talk about after the break, which is when you think about you, Jordan Peterson, Sam Harris, people that are just advocating, and now Kanye West, people are just advocating the sort of moving away from identity politics, and really when they are sort of attempts are made to crush them because of it, still standing up to it, which is the new phenomenon. I want to hear your thoughts on that. I'm sure you saw that interview with Jordan Peterson and that BBC.
Oh, with Kathy Newman, yes.
Yeah, it was just
astonishing.
Astonishing, that's right. Lauren Sivan is here. I'm Dr. Drew. We are here in the Subaru Live Stage, our first live event here. We appreciate our audience being here. Our number is 800-222-5222. Dennis Rodman coming in about a half an hour. It's Midday Live, Talk Radio 790 KBC.
That inspires.
Indeed, we are here. Oh,
James Brown.
James Brown's birthday.
It is.
Let's just let this play for a minute. Can we please?
Because you feel good?
It makes me feel good. Yes, it does make me feel good. When does James Brown not make you feel good? Ben Shapiro is in studio. He's the host of the Ben Shapiro Show, heard nightly on 790 KBC, 9 p.m. Editor-in-chief of the Daily Wire. That's a big job, Daily Wire, isn't that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank God. It's a pretty booming website. We've got about 100 million page views a month.
Oh,
So
my gosh.
It's really grown, yeah.
Good for you.
One thing I read on that website, the Boy Scouts have come out and decided to call it Scouts BSA. They want to go without gender. You are violently against this.
Well, listen, they can do what they want. They're a private organization. That said, I think that there should be spaces where boys can be with boys and girls can be with girls. And I think the great irony of this is that the group that is most angry about this is actually the Girl Scouts. The Girl Scouts are really ticked because they think that the Boy Scouts, which is a separate organization, they're going to bring in a bunch of girls into the new Scouts BSA, and the Girl Scouts is going to collapse.
Aren't they going to be forced to bring boys into the Girl Scouts?
So they are already
It's all gonna
talking
be
about
one
that, but,
thing, right?
But this is one of the weird things about just how gender works, and you know this better than I do. I would highly doubt that the number of boys who want to join the Girl Scouts is going to be the same number as the number of girls who want to join the Boy Scouts. Just as
Depends
general.
on how old they are. I think.
True enough, but that might be a problem. Yeah, that might not be what they're looking for.
You say, though, that this is the left trying to level all human beings to sexless widgets.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is California, so I do think that the left is attempting to say that boys and girls are exactly the same in every way, that it is some sort of sexist scheme, a patriarchal scheme, when you say that boys and girls are different, and that boys hanging out together is different than girls hanging out together or girls hanging out with boys. And virtually every sociological study has shown that the dynamics, the group dynamics, are very different when you have boys and girls in a room versus when you just have boys in a room. This is especially true, actually, in the field of education, where you see that boys-only schools versus girls-only schools, girls actually do better in girls-only high schools than they do in mixed classes because they think that boys are into girls who are bubbleheads.
My gravest concern about all these conversations is that behind it, and if they would just get rid of this piece, I would be much, much more at ease with these conversations, which is the notion that the human being is a tabula rasa.
Right.
That the biology has and the genetics have little or nothing to do with our behavior. And in fact, in every behavior or mental illness you can name, it's usually 50 to 60% is accounted for on the basis of genetics alone. And of course, and the other thing is, and this is back to Abraham Lincoln, which Abraham Lincoln had a lot of thoughts about the level playing field. He really wanted everyone to have an equal access to the game of life, or they call it the game of the contest of life, I think he called it. But the idea that we are all equal in all respects is false. It's just false.
That's exactly
and
right.
we should be, for everybody to thrive, we need to take these differences and support, what needs to be supportive to get everyone to the point where we're on a level playing field and thriving.
Well, this is one of the things that I thought was so interesting is the Boy Scouts, the Scouts BSA now, they said what they were going to do to try and draw girls, they were going to have a lot more STEM badges, right? Science, technology, engineering, and math badges. And I thought to myself, well, that's really not going to be the big driver, since the reality is that the reason there is a dearth of women in STEM fields has less to do with sexism and more to do with the fact that women prefer not to be in STEM fields. I mean, just by choice. There are a lot of women who are not that interested in going into those fields, and it doesn't really have to do with aptitude. It has to do with interest level, which is why you see a pretty consistent dichotomy between men and women in STEM fields across societies, including in European societies where they've been trying to alleviate this problem for many, many years.
And so again, if we agree that
Maybe if I had some more STEM badges when I was in the Girl Scouts.
you'd be an engineer right now.
Yeah.
You'd be a Caltech, not here in this live studio.
That's right. I'd be curing cancer.
Yeah, listen. This is not about women being smart or being great
Nope.
engineers or being great mathematicians. They are. It's about enhancing their interest in it. And if we are going to be honest with ourselves and we want more women in STEM, let's overcome that problem. Let's
Right.
not by slogans, but by creating motivation, right?
You also have to change a lot of the way that STEM jobs actually work, because what the studies tend to show is that women prefer cooperative jobs as opposed to
right.
individualistic
that's
jobs, and
interesting.
STEM fields tend to be more individualistic. You're sort of working on your own as
That's
opposed to as
interesting.
members of a team.
I had not thought about that. How would we create motivation in you to be like a mathematician? Would it be possible?
Well, no, I was terrible.
You're not.
I mean, I was a lost cause. But I have multiple women friends who went into biology and
Yeah.
went into engineering.
Biology tends to be a little bit different. Biology does tend to attract women a little
They
more.
they quit after
Why?
they got jobs in the real world. They quit. They hated going to work every day. They didn't like the way work was set up for them. They said, "I never speak to anyone. I don't. There's no socializing.
that's
there's
what
no.
Ben's talking about.
Yeah, they're just in their lab all day doing this work and." Both of the women, the engineer and the biologist, both quit and
Well,
went.
but certainly
to
there
do
should
other
be a way to
jobs.
make more cooperative, ventures.
And
out
I
of
think that they're trying to
science.
figure out whether
Yeah.
that is beneficial to the field or not. But I mean, you can see that obviously it's not a matter of women not being interested in science generally, because half of all medical students are women.
Oh,
That's right.
absolutely.
And my wife is a doctor, as I've
no.
said many times.
Yeah,
right?
they make great doctors, they make great scientists, they make great everything.
Yeah.
That's not the issue, but we just can't have the conversation about the differences and how to motivate and how to get people where
We have to
want them.
pretend that everybody has exactly the same motivations and everybody is exactly the same in every single way, and obviously
How
that is
tall
just
are
not
you?
true. I'm 5'9".
No, you're not. You're the same height as me.
Right, exactly. We're all the same now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How tall are you?
I'm 5'9" too.
Okay, good. See, we're all the same. We're all the same. Are you? What gender are you again? I'm not sure. So, anyways, so I don't like when science is undermined in the name of agendas of any type, ideological agendas. And by the way, why aren't people ever talking about the fact that ideology generally, when ideology rules the day, humans get harmed?
No
Do
question.
you ever notice that?
Well, yeah, this is Karl Popper's basic point. Whenever you search for utopia, everybody sort of becomes a tool or an obstacle in your pursuit of utopia.
And then you have to force people. And this is Rousseau was the first one to come up with this. Man everywhere free, so we have to everywhere free, but everywhere in chains. So we have to force him to be free.
Right.
And by his notion of what force needed to be free.
And
which
this is Marx's idea too. Obviously, we're celebrating Marx's birthday this week. Celebrating would be the wrong word.
Steve, you didn't
Interesting.
mention it was Mark's birthday. So come on now.
Do you have any
Do you have
jingles
music?
that he
It's
had?
coming up the 5th, yeah. But that was Marx's whole idea as well, was
Well,
that we'd reach a certain level of transcendental man if we
Yeah.
just leveled the entire playing field by ripping down all of the prevailing systems and pretending that all human beings were innately the same, which
And
they
if
are
anyone
not.
wants
You know
to
how
hear-
they overcome that? With a sex cult.
Oh yes.
They start sex
Always.
cults, and
They-
everyone's ready to buy onto whatever they're
Then
selling.
they're happy. If you want to read about what Ben's talking about, read the Gulag Archipelagos. If you want to realize how it goes bad. That's Ben Shapiro. It's Lauren Sivan. It's Dr. Drew. Our number is 800-222-5222. We are at the Subaru Live Stage, 790 KABC, and it is brought to you by the 2018 Subaru Forester Versatility That Inspires. We are going to spend one more segment here with our friend Ben Shapiro. It's Midday Live on Talk Radio 790 KBC.
It's Peter Tom from Nature's Home.
This doesn't sound like Seeger.
I guess it is. Pete Seeger's birthday. We'll be taking calls shortly at 800-222-5222. We are presently in the Subaru Live Stage, our first live event here on Talk Radio 790 KBC. Ben Shapiro very kindly stayed with us. You can hear him nightly and 9 p.m. at 790 KBC. He's the editor-in-chief of the Daily Wire as well. And I thought it'd be a good chance for... Oh, my God, the air conditioning just turned on in here. So much better. That's my Tourette's. We have questions from the audience for Ben. Go right ahead.
Actually, it's a comment for Lauren.
Oh.
I wanted to pick up on what another guest started to say earlier before a break. I wanted to thank you for taking your personal experiences and running with it and changing the lives of a lot of young girls and ladies in the workplace. And
Thank you.
want to acknowledge that. You've really
I
taken
appreciate that.
a sad situation and made it into a very positive movement. I appreciate it.
Hopefully. Thank
Yep.
you very
I
much.
have a daughter too, so it means a lot.
And I want to speak on Lauren's behalf. And you tell me if I speak out of turn here, but and for this for you, Ben, as well, which is Lauren was not she was not pushing an agenda because she had always told all of us about this thing. Just nothing happened. Nobody did anything, and all she did was go when somebody else stood up, and then people started attacking her. She went, "Wait a minute, that happened to me too," and that really the thing just opened up after that. So.
Well, I think that is what the Me Too movement was, because there's strength in numbers and nobody wants to go up against a titan by themselves. But when other people do, that's when the floodgates open.
You've had no-
but thank you very much for that, Jim.
Yes. Any other questions for Ben? Again, I have a little trouble seeing people. I know the hands are up there. We'll get this together. We've got a few hands. Grab that mic, sir, and get to it. Here you go.
Hi, Ben.
Howdy.
Howdy. Hey, I'm just wondering if you found in the past year that you've been able to speak on any college campuses any easier now, in the past
question.
year?
I
Are you
wondered
Great
that too.
question.
Yeah,
more
so-
receptive?
So I think that the administrations are, in many cases, doing their best, but they're still engaging in the heckler's veto. So what they do very often is they say, okay, there's a security problem on campus. That means we now have to move you off campus to a smaller venue, or we have to have 100 police officers for 5 protesters, which is what actually happened at University of Minnesota. And that's a problem, because if they're not making their security assessments in the same way for the right as they are for the left, and that means it costs right-wing students more to bring people like me to campus. In fact, there's a lawsuit right now in Berkeley that was just approved by a judge. So we'll see how that goes. But in terms of safety, I still travel with security, unfortunately, which I never thought I would have to do. But but I would say that there's only trouble on 1 out of every 7 or 8 campuses.
So you are going around speaking at campuses now.
Oh yeah.
How's the reception? What are the students like?
The students love it. I mean, they're really into it. I've spoken about 40 campuses over the last 2 years.
They love him. Of course they
Ben,
do.
we thank you so much for being here. Appreciate
thanks
it
so
my friend.
much.
I'll be
I
on your pod
appreciate
soon.
it.
Thank you to Smokin' Barbecuties for their incredible lunch, ABK Beers, Hint Water, and of course Subaru for sponsoring the KBC Subaru Live Stage. Lauren, well done. Appreciate it. Audience,
Thank you guys all for coming in.
Yes, we do appreciate that. We are continuing, of course. Dennis Rodman perhaps coming in about 15 minutes. He's scheduled to at least. Talk Radio 790, KABC.